cool. I might ask you to tell that story again. I just think it's funny.
Yeah, no,
it's just funny.
It's a bit wild.
I think the fact that the wheel got nicked in Manchester is just funny. Because to most people, they're like, yeah, you're leaving Stoke, and you know,
yeah.
That just sums up how like actually big cities are way worse crime wise and stuff.
I was scratching my head. I was thinking, why wouldn't you try and take the bike? Why just the wheel?
That's what I said to you.
Well, the wheel's easier to nick, isn't it? Your bike was chained up, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I was like, what you can do with just that one wheel? Like, what are you gonna do with it?
And to be fair, in London, I don't know anyone who didn't either get knocked off or get their bike nicked. Like, I got knocked off my bike in London. It's just, yeah.
See, I cycle. I love cycling in London as well, but that's a thing I wanted for Stoke to do is like, why isn't there like, like the Boris bikes or whatever?
Leighton,
I
think there's great cycling in and around Stoke and Staffordshire.
We've got the canals.
Yeah, it is good. It is good.
Why can't I rent a little electric bike on the side or something?
I see people cycling around a lot though, to be fair.
There are
people have got their own e-bikes. They're always nailing it down the canal.
I just feel like for tourism, if I it's come up for some reason and I can do
you can jump on one.
Even like for pottery, do the
on a bike,
nice.
Good idea
nice
that. Good idea.
I just don't know why the council hasn't. You know what I mean?
Got no money, it's all in car parks.
The amount of people that expects the council to do everything around here, though, I've never seen anything like it. It blows my mind. People literally think the council are like the king and queen of Stoke and must serve their people. And I just never seen anything like it. It's the most backwards mentality I've ever come across in my life. I've never called it backward before, so I don't know if we're recording because it really does annoy me. I was on the streets the other day in Hanley doing the thing, and like this lady starts shouting, "The council!" And I'm not going to get into an argument with what I think was a drunk woman in Hanley, but I just wanted to say every building here is owned by private landlord. Every single building is owned by an investor or a business person. It's there. The onus is on them to create. I'm not saying the council don't do anything, but
I don't think people have the education.
No, people don't know
knowing the levels of what stuff is and how it works. So if any type of problem pops up, it's like the council.
It's easy to blame, isn't it? Yeah. And I feel like it goes a bit deeper than that. I think it's about like your agency and how maybe your confidence and how much you think you're in charge of your life.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to like the whole factory owner, factory worker. I feel like people in this area's come from, that background where people are basically expected to just turn up to work and be told what to do and given money and then leave.
We've always had you're right. We've always had like, there's a safety in just like a big business, work for them, and then when that broke down, it's like,
what do we do?
What do we do? And it's someone else's fault now.
Yeah,
which I completely get. I'm not criticizing it. Are we rolling, by the way? Yeah. Are we rolling? Oh, I'm going to pull the tea. That's what we've been waiting to do, mate. I've been waiting to pull this tea. So we've got, this is a Radiohead made by Duchess China in Stoke, fine bone China.
That's nice.
So they still produce. They're one of the only ones that like, mate, look at that.
Perfect.
That's an absolute banger, isn't it?
Yeah, that's nice.
They're one of the few brands that properly make here. Like I've just been to pick it up and they've got, they've got people in the factory. Like,
whereabouts are they based?
This one, I picked this up from. It's on an industrial estate in Trentham, Newstead, okay. And and they do loads of collaborations. So this is a Radiohead. I mean, the imagery on that's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
like the design.
Never even knew that was a thing.
No, I know. Hidden gem. Ooh, careful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they do. The Speaker in the House of Commons has a Duchess China set or something every year.
Mad.
So they do Parliament and whatever. It's crazy.
Mad.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's very cool. I love unearthing
gems.
The little gems here. I feel like there's so many.
No, there definitely is something that we say that's like, there should be more product that comes out of. You want to buy more? Yeah. More. Do you buy? Would you actually buy pottery though? Yeah. Would you? I was in Spode the other day, looking at a gallery Peter Limer, photographer. And then we went, like, it leads on into the gift shop or the store there. And just to see the designs, the actual, the skill that goes into it, even like in this, the illustration, everything.
It's artistic, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
definitely,
artistic.
Definitely buy it.
I think it's more since I've got a house. I think when you start buying a house, that's when you start being more interested in that kind of stuff. So I got the Palace Wedgwood collaboration, and like that was just. But we were saying before we come, weren't we, about does it take a big collaboration to make you interested in it? But I don't think that's necessarily the case, because I think if it was Wedgwood and it was the right thing, because it's supporting something local, then it doesn't necessarily have to be that. But it just opened the door to think that the craftsmanship and the intricacy and the detail, it's an amazing product. But if you don't know it's there, or you don't go actively looking for it, would you miss out on it?
There's so much as well now that's like you can get overlooked.
Yeah.
If you don't, like, for us, I think, like you were saying something at one of your networking meetings, is like putting pride back into Stoke. That really resonated with me. But then all of these type of like Wedgwood products, if they did a collaboration, because I'm from Stoke and Wedgwood is part of Stoke, then I'd look more into it.
You connected, aren't you?
Yeah. Rather than like, say, I've seen an advert off something and it's like nice or something, and I'm like, oh, okay, that looks nice. I feel like there's more of a connection point with like stuff from the city. I'd rather, even if it costs £10-20 more, I'd probably
you get into it. I love the collabs though, because I like the idea of Stoke makers partnering with big brands. Like Burley, that little vase up there, that's Burley, that's made in Middleport pottery, and they've got a collab with like Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren, huge brand, we all know. Like, we all know Ralph Lauren, and to think they're partnering with a brand in Stoke to create something amazing is wicked. And I feel like the more I go into the ceramics, I feel like the story is the ceramics industry's dead. That's kind of the narrative I've grown up with, at least.
That is, that's what's
and it's not true.
No.
It's actually not true. It's just not what it was. It's different, basically.
Yeah. Well, we got still a few.
There's loads, It's just not like back in the day. It was whatever that none of us, I don't think any of us would have been alive for. But
I feel like as well in Stoke, we're very, or Staffordshire, should I say, we're very, we don't think in cycles. So like, I was watching something the other day about like the top 10 restaurants in the world, and they don't last for years and years and years. They come for a season. A chef comes for a season, makes something amazing, and if you're not attending it or going to it, then it's gone and you've missed that chance. Whereas I feel like here we're very much like, it needs to last for 10 years.
Yeah, we're a bit stuck in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like as a community, we need to go out, support, and then like if it has its cycle and goes, then it goes.
But it's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. It gives birth to something else. It might inspire somebody else to make something. And then
100%. And where did you both grow up here
then? Me, Blurton, Trenton way. So I was born in Blurton, grew up in Blurton, but I went to school in Trenton. So combination between the two, and I've lived there my whole life. So bit of Trenton, bit of Blurton, depending on.
So you've stayed rooted, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like to call myself a Stoke gypsy because I was born in Shelton, moved to Fenton, and then I think I've lived in the 6 towns every town.
Been all
every
around.
Town. I've been in every town. Lived in Stafford for a bit.
Yeah.
Kind of can't keep still. Around the city.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. And I should have asked you this at the start, but I've been calling you both by your Instagram handles. I've been calling you Magzoncam, and I've been calling you Espocrespo. How would you like? Do you like to go by Mags?
It's mad. Most people, like, if it's not family, I'm Mags.
Yeah.
And if it's family or close friends, really close, then I'm Ash. But everybody does know me.
I think you're Mags today. Then. What about you?
I'd say you can call me Espocrespo if you want, but Espo, Ryan. Yeah. Well, whatever's easier.
Because I remember when I moved back to Stoke, I think every person I've had on this podcast was part of me finding things in Stoke, because I feel I moved back and just naturally I was trying to find something, whether it's things to do or people to connect with, things to be inspired by. And I can't remember how, but I remember finding you on Instagram, Espocrespo on Instagram. And I remember, does it have Stoke in your bio or something?
Yeah.
Does it? Like made in Stoke or something like that?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, wait there, there's like a fashion influencer here who's doing photos at Trentham Gardens. And obviously I could tell the backdrops. And then from there, I must have found you, and I'm seeing you doing like music videos. And then from there, I'm like, there's this other world.
Yeah.
I feel like, but I had to find, I had to dig pretty deep to find that. I remember when I first even found out about like the Slamwich Club. I didn't even know that existed. And then I found that there was the backyard.
Yeah.
And then I found that there were events at the backyards. So I'm like messaging Nicole and Steph. I'm like, this is a bit weird, but but I found like that's how deep I had to go to find people and things.
It's we're quite I would say I think like each person's living their movie, and then they just do their thing in that sort of main character movie role. And we don't, that's why I think like the Knot and what you do is essential, because it lifts the profile of what we're all trying to work and do what we're doing, but we haven't had something that kind of connects the bridge, that kind of like showcases the talent that we have. I feel like we're all trying to strive to get to where we are.
It's the want for the opportunity, isn't it? Like we've said it before, that there's a lot of talented people in the city, a lot of people doing good things, but I think people lose hope, or like if it doesn't happen quick, and nothing happens quick, like success, unless you're very lucky, doesn't happen overnight. So I think a lot of people, if that success doesn't materialize,
they kind of shut
off, and then that the connections fall away, and people stop doing the things that they're passionate about. But I think that's something that we were just saying, that we've been doing this like 10 years doing different things, about being creative and just doing the things we like doing. And I think like one of the things we connected on is putting people from Stoke on and helping people from Stoke and trying to make that a thing, because I always felt that when we did music like 10 years ago, or maybe, that people were a bit like, if you got a slight bit of success or you did something good, people are always a bit like, and pulled their face a bit of like, I don't know whether it's like a small city, small town mentality of that, like, oh, why are they doing something different? Or if you get a little bit of success, why aren't we involved? Or why, and there's plenty of opportunities, but you've got to want to, and you've got to put the work in to make the opportunities happen, I feel.
Do you know where I think that comes from? We've got a survivalist mentality. There's a lot of people in Stoke that are creating and not having either the funds behind them or the platform, or there's other things. But I feel like we're in a survivalist mentality of where it's like, I can't share my idea with or I can't do this, or like, and it's a lot of fighting.
Where do you notice that? Like, because your background's been in music, but do you see that in everything creatively?
Everything creatively. Everyone is like fighting tooth and nail for space that we don't really need to. It's because I look at it as a money sort of situation. If there was more money in the city for creatives to create, then I feel like a lot of people would relax a lot more. But because there's not that flow, and people feel like...
It's like people are a bit stressed. Like,
tired.
I don't know if I'm going to get enough for myself, so I need to keep things in.
You're taking my potentials.
Space. So collaborations shut down because I've come around to thinking that, like, okay, cool, I can be one voice, but if I bring Ryan on, that's two voices. We're louder.
Working together.
And if I do that with more people with a good idea, just helps. It just makes it. But I feel like the mentality in Stoke is I've got this great idea. I need to.
Let's call it though as well. I think we're all. I mean, I'm 33. I don't know how old you are.
30.
Same age.
Okay, so we're similar age. From my perspective, even though the roots of this region are incredibly creative, Staffordshire is called the creative county, which is actually at the moment, unfortunately, ironic. if we're really honest, there are places in this country that are much more creative currently, or outwardly creative than Staffordshire. I didn't feel like I could express my creative side growing up. I didn't even feel like I could explore it. You know, I suppose the school I went to was quite academic anyway. I think that it was very much like, you know, get your A's and your B's and your C's in maths and science. But in general, I remember, I'll take it into fashion. I just remember going out on nights out and feeling like I didn't really want to wear anything too loud or too out there.
100%,
because I was nervous that someone would, and people would have done, just say something to me or look at me funny, and you know, so it's hard. I do think for me, at least in the 90s or the noughties, more like the noughties, it was hard to express myself creatively.
I think that's definitely the thing. It's definitely, I fully echo that, but I think it took, we probably all grew up in a similar age where we went from Instagram, Facebook not being a thing to all of a sudden it becoming a thing. And I think that's when that kind of, for me, fell into a path where that changed, because you've gone from school where you don't really know anything other than the environment you're in. So you just do what everyone else at school's doing because that's all you know. And it's probably music going from 16 to 18-ish, going through school and college, where college and the music I was into sort of started influencing what I liked. So you'd watch music videos. You see, for me, it was like Lil Wayne, Kanye, Drake, that you look at the music videos and you're like, I like that. I kind of want to be like that. But that stuff definitely wasn't around.
Well, we're in a vacuum. So I feel like Stoke is 5 years behind a trend. So if London, something is happening, it's only going to spread to here.
It's like the grime scene's kicking off in London. It's
not
5-10 years until it gets here. Yeah.
And that's what happened. But for me, I've been the odd one out from odd one, and I've tried to fit in. I've tried to it's Rockports and Oasis, okay, and tried to get into the culture of what's normal around like everybody else, and then figuring out that like it's fine to be different. Like I've inverted the different way. Like okay, it's cool. It's fine to be standalone, and you'll find other people that stand alone, and that's how I gravitate towards people. So that's definitely how I met Ryan, as he's saying he looked at something different and stood out. So then I'm like, oh, okay. I got other friends that are exactly the same that don't fit in. I'm kind of like a misfit that's not kind of fit in. But then develop something that does fit in, and people are like, oh, okay, I really like that. That's cool. And I feel like as Stoke has evolved through time, it's given a bit more space, a bit more like...
Well, you must feel that because you're both here.
Yeah.
You know, again, to call it, a lot of people feel like they need to leave too. And it's natural to go away and either come back or not. That's part of modern life now. We can all live in different places, and that's way more accessible than it was to like our parents' generation. But it is, though, true that this area, a lot of people do leave, and particularly the talent leave and don't come back. And I think that's opportunities, but it's probably also culture of, you know, feeling. I speak to a lot of people, been speaking to a lot of young people recently, and when I hear them say that they want to leave or they're going to leave, it's not always just about a career.
No,
it's actually not.
No.
It's actually not, to be honest. I actually think it's more about what we talked about that feeling of feeling able to express yourself and be who you are.
You have to see yourself, like the identity of a place. You have to see yourself in it. And if you don't, you're going to move. I moved to London for 10 years, just before GCSEs. So it was quite a pivotal moment to move. And then how London is, like, it's amazing. And then I've come back due to like family, my granddad being ill, fallen ill, so coming to support the family. And I've wrestled with the idea of like, I don't fit in Stoke. I need to be in a Manchester. I need to be in a bigger space.
Because you two look like you should live in London and Manchester. You know, like, I know that's such a, I almost hate that I've said that, but I think a lot of people would, you know, see a snapshot of you two and be like,
that's not
don't open your mouth for a second. Where do these two live? And I think if we did a poll, it would be like, yeah, just from what you're wearing, how you're expressing yourself, you know, London, Manchester, maybe Birmingham, whatever.
You're not wrong. We did I did the art jam. I DJ'd with mentor of mine, John Cummins. And a lot of people thought we were from London. And it was just like, why do you think that we're from London? Just like, it's just everything's cool and the music and that. And it's
just the way you are.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, sort of like noted it, took it in. But I feel like one thing I'm really pushing towards now is the grass isn't always greener somewhere else. The grass is greener where you water it. So if I don't see the image of myself in Stoke, then why am I not projecting something where I do see that? Why am I not creating something or a space or something where that does exist?
Yeah.
I could go to Manchester and fit in, but somebody's already created that, and then I'm kind of like fitting into their bubble.
You're still more than you're just like an outsider there, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I think I get that a lot with like PR and brands that reach out and just be like, oh, do you want to come to this? Do you want to do this? It's in London. And I'm like, I'm not in London. And they're like, oh, we thought you were. And it's like what you said there. It's trying to bring those opportunities here. Like the thing with Belstaff, as soon as we reached out and got the opportunity to be involved with that, we thought like that's perfect for what we need to really shout about in the city. Of there are these good things that have come from here, and there are good things that you can contribute to the city. You don't have to go somewhere else. And especially now with the internet and with like, let's go back to Instagram, is like creating something that you like and showing that as it doesn't matter where you are. And like, you can be proud of where you're from, represent where you're from. And you don't have to move somewhere else to display the things you're into and the things you like.
And it's powerful that, because, you know, a lot of people don't want to leave where they're from. I remember when I was 19, just before I went to university, and I was working at KFC, and, you know, I knew I was going to go to uni, but that's what I was doing in my gap year. I saved a bit of money to go traveling and stuff. And I remember I used to drive around and I'd be listening to like Oasis, Half the World Away or something, like wishing myself away from where I was, because I don't think, well, the Instagram definitely wasn't about then. And I don't know, I just felt like, to be free or to be me or to be something else, I don't even know what at that time, because I was young, I need to leave. And read this book recently, and there's this quote in it. It's actually apparently a geography quote, which is like, freedom is a place. And it is, I don't think what you've just said, which is really strong, I don't think a lot of younger people perhaps, or just people in general, feel empowered in that way. Feel like you can create anything from wherever you are, not just Stoke, a place like Stoke, or a place that feels like it might have opportunities. You can, if you've got a phone in your pocket and an internet connection,
you can create
you
anything.
could create.
And I definitely don't think I had that. Like, definitely 16, 17, 18, like, I was really shy. I was really quiet. I still am to an extent, but when you see results of the hard work you put in, you see connections, you see people like networking, like in the things we did of like going to LA to work on music, that was like, if you'd have said to me, you know, while still at school, 5 years time, you'll be going to work on music in LA, I'd have been like, what are you talking about? And that was no help from anyone else. That was no outside. That was always a team, what we worked together to make happen. And like, if you put your mind to it, it can happen. But like, I had to do it and see it for myself to believe that. Like, I definitely, growing up, wouldn't have thought that that's a thing.
And were you inspired by anyone in particular to do that, or were you very much just clambering in the dark?
I can't say I was inspired someone to do that specifically. I think I was inspired to work hard because that's what my dad instilled into me. So my dad was just like, you work hard, like whatever you do, you put 110% into it, and like if it doesn't work, you can't say you didn't try. So I think it was that my dad had just instilled into me, and from watching him work hard, like he's a builder, so, and he tried to get me into that, but I was like, I don't get me on.
You're building just in a different way.
So
yeah. No bricks.
So I think it was like more of a mentality thing, and a want to like always put your effort in, and at some point you will get rewarded. And I think chasing quick rewards it doesn't always happen, and like the work we put in didn't happen like overnight. It was a long time, and it was I think like a Stoke thing is very easy to give up if you don't see it happening, or you look at someone else, and I think it's very easy to compare yourself to people in other cities and other places,
especially now, more than ever,
yeah. And be like, well, why isn't that happening for us, or why isn't that happening here? And like everyone's situation is different, every city's different, you know. Everyone's got, you don't know what the background are, have they fell onto money, do they know someone you don't know? And I think that's what it was, is just being inspired by, and I think a hard work and a working mentality is a Stoke thing, and is rooted in the city of like grandparents and stuff, of being from industry, being from what hard work was then to what hard work is now is a very different thing.
I love the word grit. People always say grit. I feel like grit is good.
It's a very tough, and but what that, like with the world that's changed and the technology that's changed, that hard work of manual labor, maybe going out very early in the morning to coming home late at night, it's a different thing. Like it's a different way of working.
It's a different slog, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a different slog, and like I've got a 9 to 5, you've got a 9 to 5, but like as soon as that 5 finishes, I'm on till 5 till 10. Yeah. Like I'm doing something else like every day. Like I don't switch off. And I don't know if that's just maybe just a me thing, is that I can't just sit and chill.
But it does sound like though you genuinely love what you do in that 5 till 10.
100%, yeah.
You know, and you've got some sort of purpose for why you're doing it as well. Like you can tell you both, you know, it's inspiring to hear that you're both passionate, not just about what you're doing, but you're also passionate about doing it here. Mm-hmm. And that we do, you know, people need to hear that. And tell us about you touched on the punchline of getting to LA with the music videos. What was that journey like? Well, how did that start?
So kind of a mad one. So like I'd split up with my girlfriend at the time. I think I was 19, 20. And I thought I might go off the rails here. Like, you know, like what we were saying earlier about not drinking. Maybe it's go drinking. We're going out every night. Like we're going up Hanley. We're going out every night. But a couple of my mates were music producers, and like we just started chatting. And I'd got an extension on my garage at my house at my mum and dad's. And we just said, like, one day I was like, well, would you want to come around and work on some beats? Like I'd never worked in music. I'd never, you know, didn't know anything, didn't know how to, definitely can't sing. So we won't open that can of worms. But I was like, right, I could see that these 2 lads I was working with were really talented. And I was like, maybe we can make something happen. And at the time it was, I think I got a bursary or a grant from uni. So we went to, what's that music shop in Hanley called?
I know it sounds something, but it's
like
moved now.
Sounds.
It's moved. It's moved.
Music was it Music Store?
It's like a blue
the big blue building in Hanley.
Right. Okay.
Went up there, bought keyboard, mic, monitors, interface. Just like, yeah, let's do it. Set up a studio, and then it was just a case of let them do the creative thing because I definitely can't. And it was just start networking of like Twitter, Instagram, probably Twitter more than anything, of like just connecting, just following people, supporting people. And reaching out and just sometimes it's just, I mean, you miss every shot you don't take, as cliche as it sounds. It's like a lot of the opportunities we got was just, here's a message, here's an email. 99% don't get read, you don't get a reply, but the one that does, like, my phone one day just started blowing up, like, and I got millions of like likes, retweets. I was like, what the hell's this? And like one of the beats we'd made, a singer in LA had recorded to it, put it out, hadn't told us, hadn't said anything.
No way.
And then obviously just tagged us in it. And then we were just like, and he was like, by the way, I'm shooting a music video to it. And we were just like, this is crazy. Like, this is insane. And then we started to build a following more in America than here, which again, kind of, I think created a little bit of an issue with some other people in the city, of a bit like, oh, you don't care about the city, you want to go out. And that was never the case.
It's not like you hadn't he tried for years and years and years and years to work with local talent in the city. That's how I came into the picture, how I met, and also through like the UK channels as well, bringing like
we bought
artists from Nottingham,
Birmingham, everywhere.
But Ryan's like doing this humbly. Like Ryan would go out of his way, even pick up artists to bring them to Stoke, put on shows when people weren't putting shows on. So he's somebody that's always given back, always gave the opportunity. But as we were saying before, when somebody is taking notice or somebody is offering to pay for your work, which was probably in America, LA, for Ryan, that's obviously you're gonna go that way.
Yeah,
it's not.
It was and like you say, I think we did the grime night at the Sugar Mill, so we brought Frisco, boy better know, Skepta's right hand man at the time, to the Sugar Mill, and put on.
What year was that?
It was like
2015,
yeah,
maybe. And then we had like Kamikaze from Leicester, Fadiz Kamar from Nottingham, and Kempi we were working with from at the time from Stoke,
local artist.
Yeah. So we wanted to put you got obviously have a big artist to pull people in, but we definitely wanted to put people on in the city to say, hey, there are talented people here. But at the time, like there wasn't like a place, and there still isn't to an extent, is that you've always got to reach out. And I say the most important thing was about networking, and a lot of it is not what you know, it's who you know. And that's what it was for us at the time, is that we had a lot more doors open in America than we did here, and which it seemed mental, because like we could have these conversations with artists. Like we produced a song which is still unreleased with a guy who's won a Grammy on the song Thrift Shop with Macklemore, which is just mental. But they were more receptive of like, oh, they're English. Like to them, it was something different. Like that was the thing.
It's unique. It's a niche.
It was like, as much as we wanted to get over there, they wanted to come here.
Mm-hmm.
And like artists in America were just like, yeah, don't care about anything other than that you're English and we want to work with you.
Have you found it difficult to work with people in this area? And I'm putting you on the spot there.
I'd say yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, just because people have a preconception of how stuff is going to work, and if you don't understand the industry and the ins and outs of it, and then when you get told that's not possible, I feel like people feel like that's like a rejection.
Because we do need to call it out. Because like if this place is going to transform or change, like I do feel that people need to open their eyes to, especially in the creative industries. I feel like I'm imagining what I'm reading between the lines of, you know, the people that you might have been connecting with from LA. I can just imagine that connection just felt easier.
100%. Yeah.
There's more ideas. It's maybe a bit less transactional. It's just like, let's just
all chasing a dream.
Yeah.
Which is what, I mean, that's a big LA cliche, but it is a thing that everyone out there is kind of on the same thing of like, LA is the place where you go to like, I want to make it as an actor, I want to make it as an artist, I want to.
So we're
make
dreaming
it in film.
big, and we're just going to work on that,
and that's where we're
somehow together to get there.
And we're all in the same boat.
Yeah. And actually, none of us are maybe making any money from this right now.
Correct.
But we're all just, because I certainly, what I've noticed is the last business I built was in London. So I built a business called Sanctus, which was a mental health brand basically. And there was this whole movement of let's talk about mental health in a different way. And what I noticed in London, because I'm now building something here and I'm noticing the difference, I just feel like people had a bit more to give. Like, I think people, you know, and don't get me wrong, I've had loads of support on the knot, and people are incredibly supportive. But the truth is, people don't have as much to give. Like, people in London had maybe on the whole more time, more resource, more of a desire to just kind of give into something, almost invest into something, whether that's a brand or a creative project, kind of just, and not really know where it's going to get to. And, you know, I feel like because there is less, or there's perceived less here, like what you were on about before, about people kind of maybe being a bit more protective. Yeah, I do find, and then in creative, like literally to create art, whether it's music or fashion, or you need to just let go of the outcome in a way and just be like, yeah, you're cool. I'll come round to your studio tomorrow and let's just see what happens.
I think that's a lot of it is shooting yourself in the foot of like that transactional attitude of like, I don't know, because I've seen it in everything of like people will be like, we'd be like, oh, do you want to come to the studio to work? And I'd be like, well, how much are you willing to pay? And it's like, what? Like, which I'm trying to collaborate and work with you together here. Like what? And then, I think a lot of the issues with creative stuff in general is that the money isn't there straight away.
No.
And it's definitely a long-term thing.
But you're building equity, aren't you? You're not.
It's a creative idea, whether that's music or fashion or art, is that the money is a long-term thing. And like there's a lot of doors that get shut. And I felt like that with music is like, look, I'm not making any money off this at the time. Like we were making a little bit from studio time, from mixing, from engineering, the odd artist paying for beats. But in the music industry, it's a very competitive space, and it's the rich are very rich. The big labels are the ones with the money and the power, a lot more then than it is now. Like it's changed a little bit. But like when you're asking me to pay you for a feature of £1,000, I'm like, well, no, because like where's that?
Where are you going to make the get back?
Yeah, but I'm not going to make £1,000 off anything we do together. Let's make that clear. Like at the point we were at, and then that door then is shut. And I feel like a lot of artists were like, right, when we were asking them, say, hey, let's work on something together. Like right now, it might not be a thing, but until we make something, create something, put it out, let's see what the response is like. Let's see if this could be a thing, and the money comes long term, but. Maybe like you say of a Stoke thing, if there isn't a lot to go around and there isn't a lot of money on the table, people don't have the want to give what they perceive as the money away.
It's a survivalist mentality. Yeah. Like if you need money to create, that's the...
You do. It's a privilege, isn't it? It's a privilege to have time to be able to write or paint or make music.
Yeah. So when those resources are slimmed down, and you could be the greatest artist in the world, but if you don't have the money,
you're working in the warehouse all day, or then you're knackered or whatever. Yeah, you don't have the space, you don't have a laptop, you don't. Yeah.
So I feel like that causes a lot of kinks between collaboration and people, especially if, let's say, I seem to be doing better online than somebody else and I try to collaborate with them, they're going to look at me like, bro, you're doing... In reality, though, it might not be that. It's just how it looks.
Yeah.
How how we gain the opportunities, how that comes through. It can be perceived in lots of ways, but we're all on the journey to get to
a similar outcome.
Yeah, some sort of form of success. And what do you think is the biggest issue? Is it the practical of money, time, resource? You know, Ben Francis, who's the founder of Gymshark, talks about having access to like Premiere Pro at college or something, and like learning Premiere Pro and then being able to create designs and create video is like a huge benefit. So is it the practical, or is it the more let's say, cultural and, you know, the feeling like you can create. Because again, there's also a confidence. It takes a lot of confidence. It took me years to be able to post something online and not really care what people think.
Yeah.
Or to write something or to put a brand out there that I've made and just think, yeah, whatever. Like, that takes a long time. So what is it? Are they both the same, or which one would you?
I think it's a bit of both, but I think, like, I was very fortunate to be at the time at uni, working full time as well. Like, I didn't really go to uni. I just did the assignments, submitted them, and worked full time. Yeah, but worked full time. And I was very fortunate to have, like, my mum and dad's support. Of, like, place to live. Like, but I specifically chose to not move away to uni because I wanted to work. At the same time. So, like, it was a combination of that, and I was very fortunate that my mum and dad had the space on the extension where they were just like, yeah, you want to go for it, go for it.
Given
like,
the freedom as well.
Given the freedom as that they were like, well, we'd rather you be in here doing that than going out uptown getting smashed. And, like,
where you gotta give props to your parents, because from a parent's point of view, we would turn up. There'd be gangs of us turning up to this, like, the garage. I can imagine, like, if you peeked away, like, why is there a
few colourful characters as well?
Why is there 16 guys? Like, one's wearing a balaclava. What's going on? Like, but.
Like, yeah, so it's
like mopeds.
Yeah.
But, like, I think, like, it did take a lot of them convincing. But then when we started showing them like, this is what we're making, like, we're not sitting in there like
just doing nothing. Yeah.
Like, they were and we was just like showing, we've been working on this, we've been making this, or like we've been showing them a music video and, like, we made the song for that, and they didn't get it at first. Like, it took a while, and then they were like, you can keep doing it, and, like, we'd rather you be there than
out in the
streets, or, like, we don't know what you're doing. So a lot of it is that as well. You've got to have some kind of support, and, like, that didn't come as well. Like I was at uni, so I was still doing my uni stuff. I was working pretty much full time because I needed money to support this stuff. Like, my parents obviously give me a place to live, but, like, they didn't pay for any of the stuff. Like, they were just like, if you want to do it, like, we're not buying it. Like, you've got to buy it. And if you want to put on events, if you want to do all this stuff, like, you've got to find the money. But then again, like, that thing about the perception of being, can you do this stuff, I think is a little bit cultural, and it's a little bit like, until you surround yourself with other people that believe in the same or think the same way as you do. Like, at school, I was definitely not like that. At school, it was 100% try fit in. College opened my eyes a bit of that, like, there's a lot of different people here. Like, people from all over the city, people different backgrounds, people. And it was like, okay, maybe you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. Like, and then you find people who like the niche things that you like, of like rap music and hip hop music. I felt at school, not a lot of people liked that, but then I find similar other people in the city who like that as much as I do. And then like fashion as much as I do, but like the clothes and the fashion I like is not necessarily what I felt like the city looked like, which is kind of what we spoke about at Belstaff, of like the kind of almost going back to the heritage of the city of like football. It's got a big football culture, so you naturally associate that with Stone Island, CP, blue jeans, Adidas, like, and there's nothing wrong with that, like, but that wasn't what I felt was what I liked. And it took a while to feel like I can express what I like. And part of it was like, as mad as it sounds, like the reason I've got my other page, my blog, is I posted pictures of the clothes I liked and outfits on there because I didn't want it on my personal one, because I didn't want people being like, what the hell's that?
That's become your creative outlet, hasn't it? You've created your Bloc d'Ivoire, and then that's your separate creative outlet. And fast forward into now, I suppose two questions. First, like, where would you go now to connect with like-minded people? Like, where are you finding Mags? Where are you finding Ryan? Like, where are you? Obviously, your mate, so you found it.
For me, it's
And if you're not, be honest.
So no, I don't think there's a space actually right now that has the same sort of mindsets that I have. I kind of like, I go through different events, different things, and I find those people. Before though, when I was younger, there used to be like, my route is I've come from like the youth service. The youth service is sort of, the Stoke-on-Trent youth service has given me most of the skills that I have today. So I learned how to DJ there because I don't have $8,000 to buy Pioneer decks as a kid. Like the work that I know how to use Logic, I didn't have a Mac. I couldn't buy them. I couldn't afford a Mac and Logic and sort of things. So without the youth services to hone these sorts of skills, I wouldn't have. And I met all the people that I know now through either those skills or in there. And the youth services isn't about now at all. Mm-hmm. So for the kids of today, I don't know where they go and create
and just find like-minded people.
Because even when you're younger, I feel like high school, there's 30 of you, it's your whole class, you roll together. You might not like everybody in there, but you're a pack anyway. Cool. You move up college, it's a bit less. Uni, it's a bit less, until you you're refining your circle until it's okay, these are the people that are my people. But I don't think there is a space, but there's not many spaces now where we can interact. Like nightlife isn't.
No, it sounds like online, to be honest, is the best way to find and connect with people.
Because like if we didn't have the studio that was at mine, and then when we moved to the one at Fenton, and like getting people to come in, like where would we go?
And then for you two as creatives, you know, right at the heart of in the body of your career, you know, one of the massive things we all need, anyone creative or entrepreneurial, is you need a scene of other people to make you feel like you're not alone and you belong.
Mm-hmm.
That's like basics. So we're saying that's kind of difficult. So that's the first one. And then what about just inspiration? Because you also need to see other people. Again, all I keep harking. I remember when I used to, my last business started in Shoreditch. So every day I'm like, graffiti, latest brand, new campaign or new pop-up shop of a new fashion company. I'm going in there and whatever. It's like there's inspiration and art all around. And I feel like those two things are key for Stoke and Staffordshire. And I'm not sure currently where creative people find them.
Yeah.
I think I'm the opposite, because I've built my tribe around so many creative people. Like you've absorbed into that now. I've met you. There's there's people with positive energy that I look for.
So you think you've found that?
We're not together though. So like me and Ryan like circulate each other, but we're not together all the time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other creative people in the city, but we're just not together. There's not like a hub where we all at and
you just follow each other on Instagram.
We know each other on Instagram. I'll see like Ryan puts a post out that's inspiring. Like, oh, cool. I've got a friend, Luke White. He's a photographer. Kind of taught me a lot about what I know of photography. He's really creative. He puts stuff out. I got another friend, Bernie, musician. He puts stuff. So there's the people that I'm around or I've grown up with. That's my tribe. They're always inspiring me. Anything that.
Well, I think like what you said, James, about trying to find a creative circle. Like we had, and I felt like I had that because I was at that age where like between 17 to like 21, you're moving in different circles of like you go into uni, you go to college. You a lot of it was finding friends of friends of like I knew you probably through Ash. And then like they've obviously got people they know from their circles, but like now we're a bit older and obviously you're not as close and you're not like at college or like in school you're a class of people, uni you're a class of people. Like now, say if you're like you don't find your opportunity for your creative output till you've left university, I don't know where that space would be. Say we obviously made them before that, but if we hadn't, like if we said we want to start now, where's
you're
that
on
point?
Instagram. You literally have to just go on Instagram. You have to do what I've done. You have to just find the knot. You genuinely like find other things and just go on the feed. start following people, liking their stuff, commenting, DM them, try and meet them for a coffee. Like,
is that how you've, like, coming back in, is that how you found it? Is to be like...
Yeah, because there isn't... The geography of this area is completely different to other cities.
Yeah.
So, you know, people spend time in lots of different places that are quite far from each other. Some people's hangout spot might be, in a pub near their house in like Newcastle, or someone else's hangout spot might be, in Trentham, or someone else's hangout spot might be Hanley. It is very spread. It's just the nature of the place. And I don't think that's a bad thing so much anymore. I'm like, it is what it is. It's what makes the place unique. So it's not like there's an it coffee shop I can go to where, I'm not saying you're going to bump into someone in a coffee shop and say, hey, and introduce yourself. But you might go to an it coffee shop to sit there and do some work on your laptop and just kind of feel like, this is cool. Like, I'm doing this alongside other people. So I personally, do think the place is either there are lots of events happening and there are lots of quite niche events with like different music, different whatever. I think going to events is a good shout for people here. Or genuinely, I think people have to be in the creative scene, and just probably entrepreneurially in general. I just think you have to be quite proactive. I think you've got to
be out there.
You got to really work to find a network, and probably use online to do that, and probably use Instagram if you're creative, and then just not be afraid to like have random meets with people. And that's probably quite a mindset shift for a lot of people. It's a bit of a big city thing to do. Let's just go for coffee. It's not, you wouldn't say that's a thing that's happened in Stoke over the generations.
No.
It's not, but that's connections and community is what makes it kind of happen.
Yeah.
So again, I feel like I met you two not properly, but another time there was a Bell staff event. It's a cool event. I'm going to meet like-minded people there. So I bump into you two. But I wouldn't have been afraid of just being like, oh, shoot, like, do you want to just meet up? Just to share stories, listen to people's experience with no agenda. And I feel like that's what people have to do. And I appreciate that's hard to do when you're young, because I think it's quite foreign. It takes a lot of confidence to do that. We're not so used to it. And maybe there are other platforms and communities that we're also not.
That's going to cut, like, I feel like if you have that, you're going to cut through quicker anyway.
And you will.
It takes, as you were saying, the support, family or support from somewhere to push that way. But I think there's a lot of bedroom geniuses.
There's loads. I think we all know there's a lot. And I think it's actually on everyone to connect with everyone, because it's just not going to be given to you. And that might change. There might be the Good Yard development in Stoke might be the it spot that everyone starts hanging around, but my feeling is it won't be. I'm not saying that development won't do well. No, but there's never going to be a silver bullet. There's never going to be a silver bullet of one venue that every creative person in Staffordshire agrees to hang out at every week or every day.
Not everyone gets on with everyone either.
It's just not going to happen.
It's pockets.
And I feel like you've got to get the buy-in from everyone to do it, because like if I like for your events, like I know that if I've asked Magnum to come, he's going to come. If I ask like Alex and the band to come, they're going to come. But then like you need that sort of network of like, okay, well, if they're going, I'll go.
Yeah.
But like if you just put on a random event and just be like, we're doing this until like part of that circle and finding the right people of like spreading out until like, okay, a couple of mates going, might check that out. And I think that's just not just a Stoke thing, that's just a thing in general that you've got to try and get the buy-in from enough people to get the right minds there. But whether you can find a place consistently for enough for that, I don't know, it's difficult. And like you say, the 6 towns thing is, I feel like it's a very, very probably a challenging thing, because like I know up until I was probably 18, I probably hadn't been the other side of Hanley, really.
No.
realistically, I hadn't. Like,
and it's not even 6 towns; it's like 12. Think about Stafford
and Newcastle.
Like Keelan, who's producing this, Keelan went to a college in Stafford with, I'm sure, a load of creative people. Stafford's like 20 minutes away. It's the same place. Like, to me, that's why for me they're not Stoke, Staffordshire, whatever, Newcastle, Leek. They're all these creative. It's all, but like you say, it's not even 6 towns. It's like
massive,
it's this sprawling, kind of like a sprawling region. So yeah, to compare it to Manchester, where you can hang out at certain places or
the Northern Quarter, and
exactly, or go to a certain co-working space. Again, that might happen, but it definitely isn't now. So I think we're all in agreement. You've got to find your tribe, basically, and you've got to reach out to find them. What's next for you two here? Like what? Because obviously you're committed. You're both here, like, and what I love about you two, and what I'll be honest, I've been finding this hard myself a little bit, is I feel like I spend a lot of time talking about Stoke and Staffordshire. I feel like I want to just create I know I am creating something here, but realistically, someone just needs to start, not just needs to. The most inspiring thing that could happen in this area is someone to just start Cole Buxton here, or, create. Because that's rather than talking about it,
put it and do it.
We're going to do this huge event here, or this new band's come from here. Like, I love trying to find and follow artists that are from this region, because every great city or area has their music. Yeah. They've got their voice. Yeah. Like, they've got someone representing their voice. So
I think we've got great voices here as well, though. We've got like. We're both individually working with artists. I work with a couple rappers. Shout out E-Dog. He's making a lot of waves. He's going to come through. You're working with?
Yeah, I'm helping my cousin's band, Fawn. So I've been trying to work with them on putting the marketing and like content and giving them a strategy of like taking away the background stuff and being like, you create the music, create the product, and I'll just do all the stuff in the background that you don't want to do.
So you're both helping musicians out here, and you want to keep doing that?
100%, yeah. Like, just what we enjoy doing. Like, 2 weeks ago, we did a styling with them. So got some stuff from Wax Clothing in London, styled them. Then we went and shot it with another photographer in Stoke called Deck. And just like just create stuff and just
love it.
Just make some PR, and then like they've got an event coming up at Keele Uni, so again another local event. I'm going to style them for that as well. So it's we just want to see them grow.
Yeah, and you want to make something,
and I want to see them if they can. I can handle all the stuff that they don't want to do, and it lets them create the music and focus on that. Like, I'm not asking for anything out of it. I enjoy doing the work and helping them, and if something comes of it, then that's great.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm focused on at the minute. I know we've spoken about a lot at the beginning of the year about starting a brand, like you say, and it's not easy. It's a very competitive space, and I think that's what's made me hold off from doing it. It's been an idea since
clothing,
from young.
I wouldn't want to do it as like merch, like, because I feel like a lot of brands start as like merch of like, let's just print something on this shirt, done. I don't, I wouldn't want it to be like that, but it's again a capital thing. It's to do it right. It's samples, it's process, it's finding a factory. It takes time and it takes a lot of money. And it's not always going to work. Like, the first thing you make is definitely not going to be the greatest. Yeah.
See, that's why me and Ryan are good, because we're two sides of a coin, where he's focused on the materials and everything to be right. Mine is the ethos. Does it connect back to the city? Does it mean something when you wear it? Do you have pride? Same way as if I wear Stone Island, I feel, you know what I mean? I feel good. Any sort of thing that I buy and wear, I feel good in it. So my thing is, how do we get that feeling of pride and bring the city and with it?
Sounds like everything you're doing, whether it's music, like the two artists that you're working with, and I'm sure more, you want to help them create great music and be a great brand in how they look and how they represent. And then whatever else you might create, whether it is some sort of fashion brand or anything else that comes, again, it's got to connect. It's got to be a great piece of art, like a great product that just is from here. That I feel like what I get excited about when I hear that is also a lot of stuff that gets created here is, I just find that it's a little bit like only selling to people here. I genuinely can't see another tea towel with a kiln on. No more. Like, we literally don't need any more of those.
No.
They're brilliant and they're great. And I'm sure I've had them for Christmas presents for years, and they're coasters, but that's why I love this Radiohead. And it's new. It's new and it's creative, and it doesn't even have to have anything to do with Stoke. It could just be a completely random new, like doesn't have to have anything to do with history or heritage. It can do if it's got that.
Great.
If it's got that connection and that feels needed, brilliant. But it doesn't have to. And I feel like, we're all so maybe passionate or proud of where we've come from that I feel like all artists here feel like they have to reference that. And you don't, because we're all standing on the shoulders of that anyway. The reason
you represent it, like
if you're born here or you've lived here or you've grown up here, you're here. You don't always need to put a bottle kiln in everything. You don't need to put a pot bank in everything or a knot in everything. Or
there's a lot like forward movement. So we are tying back into heritage, but they could be reinvented. So like I was saying stuff to Ryan of like, okay, why isn't like, let's say Stoke City and Balstaff haven't come together to design, or I'd love to do that, but make like merch or something of that. Why isn't, as we were saying before, like why isn't like
Wedgwood or
these
the collabs?
Yeah, why isn't there more collabs? It doesn't even, as you say, doesn't even need to be in the city or whatever. But these are, let's say, the giants of the city.
Yeah.
Why aren't they?
Yeah, and you referenced the artist you're working with, E-Dog.
Yeah.
And I think I've been on the Instagram rabbit hole. All I get from here, I don't know what his music's about, but he's just from here and he's creating music. It doesn't necessarily have to be about Stoke, or it's just whatever that truth is, whatever that voice is for him. That's it.
He's more of the like about the grit, and he's like he loves Fenton for all the problems and everything that's there.
First time I met him, that is the one thing that I got. Like, you introduced me to him. That's the one thing I got of. He's proud of where he's from.
Love it. Yeah. Even with like, again, with all the problems of whatever, he's just like, I'm from Fenton and Fenton made me. Like,
and he's representing that.
Like to the death.
But you can represent that without kind of, you don't always have to talk about it. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
And maybe you do, and maybe that's what it's about. I just feel like I want to give people here, especially young people here, permission to just create freely without feeling like they need to create like a t-shirt with a duck on it.
Yeah, no.
Just be yourself. Be, if you're into games or whatever, Japanese culture, I'm making stuff up now, but just whatever.
Look, there's enough room for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we put parameters in. Of like, oh no, like if I don't make it about Stoke, then people might not like it or da-da-da-da. But there's like going through life, what I've seen is your people are out there. You put it out and people will find you. And
they might be in LA.
Yeah.
There might be, what this area needs to grow is, and what it was built on the fact that pottery was sold everywhere, literally worldwide. And that's what brought wealth and prosperity, wealth here in the first place. Yeah. So this city's not going to, Bet365 and JCB and Alton Towers, who are 3 huge employers in the area, they sell a lot worldwide.
Worldwide.
That's what brings in here. So I think for creators, I do really want people to think outside of this area, and their customers. Your customers and your fans are worldwide.
Yeah, definitely.
100%, because there's brands that I really like Porter James Sport out of New Zealand, Alfred's Apartments out of Australia, Solace, a brand from Manchester, like lots of really up and coming brands that do. I mean, there's a lot of hard work and graft because I know a lot of the owners of those brands that have put a lot of legwork in, but they're doing it in like not like your London, your New York.
Yeah.
They're doing it from where they're from. It represents them, but I like what they're doing. It resonates with me, and I'm not from where they're from. So why can't that be the same for here? Like,
and also, a lot of big brands aren't coming out of London at the moment. The ones that I like, Gymshark gets a load of airtime, rightly so. Solihull, Birmingham. I always think Huel's another random one. I know it's completely different, but Huel's not London either.
Oh, that's mad.
Yeah, there's what's the
represents a massive
represents huge. You know, Arn again, Northwest. You know, there's like a lot of big brands aren't coming from down south actually, or in big cities. They're coming. They're these people that are rooted actually in where they're from, and they're like, you know what, I'm just going to create here.
I was speaking to someone at Balstaff, like a photographer, and like, I didn't realize how big his profile is, and he's a big boy.
There are a few big boys there, weren't there? It was like
mad.
There must have cumulatively been about 50 million Instagram followers in that room.
Dizzy heights. But he was saying like the story of London's been told. The story of these big cities have been told over and over and over. The story from your local area.
True.
Hasn't been told yet.
So much to unearth. Yeah, so much soul to show. Agreed. It's a goal. I think it's a complete gold mine in terms of stories and art and creativity. I completely agree.
Because it's like I've been to LA and I've been to New York, and like before you get to those places, you kind of feel like you know those places, and it's like you've never been there, but there's so much on TV. There's so much in
music,
movies,
everything. Yeah,
everything. You feel like I kind of know what's going on here already, but like Stoke has got enough about it. Staffordshire's got enough about it to make the stories, to tell the stories of what's going on now, what's been going on before, but it just hasn't.
And that's the opportunity, isn't it? That's what, you know, you're at the coalface, or I am. Others feel like there is a very much a pioneering opportunity for people here to be the first that kind of claim some space here, claim some, whether it's space here internally, because there's definitely people internally that want more. They want more experiences, whether it's food or music or art, but also there's chance to build stuff here that sells beyond. Where would you, in sort of 5 years' time, like where would you two like to be on a personal level? And then where would you like, as a result, where would you like the area that you live to be?
Tricky one. I think for me, it'd probably be to work for myself and to help others do, like I work in marketing. So giving, like maybe do my own agency, maybe do my own thing. Like I love where I work now, but there's always that extra freedom of when you do it for yourself. Of like being able to like you say, put other people on around the city, give them the opportunity or teach them the things that I've learned to, you know, to be able to give back. But then similarly with helping with music, if I could get in with working with music, you know, maybe I could go into a music management role, or like fashion could be a fashion PR role. I don't know. There's lots of opportunities of where it's just following what you really love doing, and if you put the effort in, at some point that right door is going to open, and where that is in 5 years, I don't know, but I'm hoping it's going to be a fruitful one.
I would say 5 years. Creative director at Ryan's agency. At the moment, I'm a school teacher. I would love to develop either my own school or develop something with the people that I'm working with now at Creative Academy. Still be in Stoke. And just connect the dots, just put more product out that's like from people from here who aren't here, collaborations, just build a network, get my network even stronger so I can connect the dots for people. So like,
I think that's a good one as well, being able to connect the dots, because like what you're good at isn't necessarily what others are. Like if it, like for me, like all the things that I've been able to achieve, I feel like I've been by connecting dots. Like, I would love to be able to do what you do with video. Well, there's no chance. Like, I just can't do it. Same with music. I'd love to be able to make my own music. I can't. It's not what I'm good at, but it's about finding those other people in the city who've got their thing, but then it's about how can you bring these people together.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've always tried to do, but we feel like there's always more you can do.
I hear that in both of you wanting to help raise up others and believing that will raise yourself up. And I love that. And you know, it's definitely needed. There's you two at it and the network you've got, and there are others, and everyone collaborating and working together at some point out of there, good stuff is 100% going to come. And shifting gears slightly, always end on the food and drink recommendations, but I might throw a couple of curveball questions in for you. Have you two got a spot where you like to go out and get, let's say, a tea or a coffee?
Well, we'll touch on, if it wasn't what I said before we started the interview, say if I was going to grab a coffee, it's probably when I'm at work, or grab a drink or something. So coffee number one in Stafford is pretty good.
Coffee number one in Stafford, nice. What about you, Max?
Mine was Raw before it closed. So now, I don't really have a space to grab a coffee, but I'd have a space where I know that I'll grab a beer from, which is the Unicorn on Piccadilly.
Nice.
It's like a little time vault.
Yeah. You're struggling on the coffee front though. Do you feel like it's missing in your life? Do you need it?
Or is it taken over by Costa?
No, because I need something independent. When Raw was here, that was my spot.
Yeah.
But now it's gone. I need to look into it. I haven't found.
You need your independent spot. Well, maybe we can get some people giving you some recommendations. What about if you were going out to grab food?
I think we could both agree on the same place, maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
That's Sandwich Club.
Sandwich Club's a definite. I've got Afghan Palace.
Really?
Yeah.
No way. Good.
Like hidden gem. It's not like it's cheap. It's good food. Like Cobridge on Waterloo Road type of thing. But me and my friends have been there. Like we get like a little feast, and it's great. Like that's like
I love they're the kind of recommendations I feel like
you ain't gonna or Carmen's. Can't forget Carmen's on London Road. It's like Caribbean food. They do takeaway and but they've been there for ages.
Decent, love it.
Yeah.
And we touched on music. If you were you might have already shouted them out. If you were gonna recommend some listeners or people seeing this to explore some Stoke talent musically, one each.
I'm gonna have to be a bit biased here, just because I'm helping Fawn out. But they're working on a project and going to record it in September in Liverpool. So over the next few months, we're going to be dropping singles. So definitely keep an eye out for that.
And how do people find them?
On Instagram, Fawn Official. So it's FOARN. So
FOARN. Yeah, nice. What about you?
Well, I've already shouted E out. So there's so much good music coming out of the city right now.
Go on, just go. You can have a couple.
I'm going to get shot. Forward Motion. Forward. He's a singer, R&B singer, just on the come up. He also has his own food plug platters. So yeah, that's my
nice.
Don't
and got music out now.
Got music out now.
Everyone can be aware that I've put you on the spot. So it's my fault, not theirs. And what's your, both you two, just your life in and around this area, what's your favourite thing to get up to? Like if you got a free weekend?
For me, I think it started with lockdown, to be honest, is like when you got nothing else to do, I just like going for a walk. And I feel like Stoke has got loads of places for that. For me, just because of where I live, I love walking down the canal in Trentham, going to Wedgwood, Barlaston back, but like Hanchurch, Cannock.
Beautiful scenes.
There's so many places. I think it's just like sometimes when you do just need that space. I love like just throwing on a podcast, going for a walk, and just, especially when it's a nice day, which we've actually had some nice weather recently, which always helps. Is just like, yeah, just go out for a walk, put your headphones in. And I feel like that's a really good thing about Stoke, Staffordshire in general. There's loads of green space.
Love it.
Mine is jumping on my bike, doing the same sort of thing. Or hitting the mats. There's a lot of great fighting gyms, especially like Thai boxing gyms, Muay Thai in the city right now. There's a lot of great fighters. Again, shout out 1K Fitness, shout out Sam. A lot of great positive people in that scene. So,
cool. Yeah, that's a scene that we probably don't talk about enough, actually. Yeah, nice. Cool. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. I feel like everything you two are doing, we need more of. I feel like the thing that would be great for me is if in 5 years, if there was like 1,000 more people like you two that are just creating, collaborating with others. That's where I feel like the potential's 100% there. The talent's definitely there. And I hope that between us and others, we can make it feel possible. So, yeah, it's been a pleasure and good to have you both on.
Thanks
for having us.